2 years ago, this is Sayini's third transfer in the last 4 years. All 5 of us were with our father, and we were 4 brothers and sisters, and her mother comes up with such things one after another. It was even more difficult to keep changing schools because everyone would be worried if I ran away from there. New environment, new people. Until we were young, my father was able to carefully consider the decision to move to a new place. This time, the father was transported to the city before giving the order. What happened in a small, remote, hilltop village was disappointing for all 4 of us. This village is very backward. Also, the school will be your place of residence. Large families lived in small houses. My father asked me to stay in an old bungalow provided by the post office. It didn't matter. With heavy hearts, we left the townhouse and headed to the mountains, a group of 4 brothers. Among my sisters, I am the eldest, Ravi and I. Chota Sachin had 2 younger sisters and 14-year-old Winnie, and her youngest child, Somi, was the eldest of 4 children. He was cheerful and always had a smile on his face. His daily routine in his new bungalow was to embarrass everyone by laughing and jumping up and down. Many arrived in Bengal earlier than expected. Some of the bungalows were many times larger than our stay. As for the other half, it was clear that the key was somewhere and another was badly broken. There was a crack somewhere in the door. As we wandered around the bungalow, an old woman came with a cane. Tika comes and says that her ancestors also took care of this palace. This marriage was the only child of his parents. A few days later, her husband died. After she left, she returned to her mother's home, and her mother took care of the palace for about 75 years. Grandma took care of our family. She took care of my 2 cheerful younger sisters. He lovingly placed his hand on my head and said, "I love you. Allah Hafiz, you are a Muslim." Her mother said in a strange tone, "Yes, ma'am, just one." "Please put the girl somewhere else. I don't know what you're talking about, girl. This means that neither children nor adults can go anywhere else in the bungalow. The parts to be cleaned are the same. Try it. But why? It has been empty for years. Most of its parts are broken and there have been some accidents. If that doesn't happen, say that as a warning. The rest is up to you. He can use a cane." Taker tries to leave. "But you are not staying in this bungalow?" my mother asked, surprised. "No, that's not me. That's not me." So he lived in a small hamlet nearby. "If I'm away from here, please call me if you need to. I'll go see you." Dad started walking, looking around the house, and Mom is busy cleaning her house. Such a large palace has about 20 rooms. Approximately 10 of these rooms are closed and dilapidated. 4 of his remaining 10 rooms were in poor condition. We chose the rest. The kids leave the house even after they pack their bags. There were only 2 rooms left, and they were both mine. A village school that became a playground for the Devil Sisters. Every time we go out to see the beautiful scenery around us, there is a natural beauty in the hills, back when the hilly areas were once very beautiful, and the love for black magic and ghosts is very popular here. My classmates often scare me by teasing about the place. I also went home and told my younger brothers and sisters these stories are more about fear. When I said spice with chili peppers, all 3 of them would start crying in fear. So I will feel victorious and smile when I come here. A few days ago, me and my younger brother Sachin played cricket together. After my mother finished her work, I went to sleep with peace of mind. My 2 younger sisters also stayed in the empty room. Dama Quartet was fun. I don't know what happened. Suddenly I heard a loud scream. Sachin and I started throwing the same bat fast. Mao heard a noise from inside and ran out of the room. We ran outside, but there was no one in the hallway, and we could hear Soni's constant cries. It didn't take long for me to realize that I was crying myself to sleep. I heard a noise from the other side of the palace, so I took Sachin's hand and started running. When we entered the restricted area of the palace, there were spider webs everywhere and a lot of oil drums. I looked ahead and saw Winnie unconscious and Sony standing next to her, crying bitterly. We somehow escaped with Bonnie around the same time that Mom arrived to us and discovered her unconscious Winnie. Sony comes to the area room and asks her to be quiet. When I finished work, I asked him, why is he screaming? Why and how did Winnie pass out? No, she was out in the hallway looking for Winnie. He was probably hiding in the back other room. I walked and ran after she heard her screams. The rest of this story will be in part 2.